this shot as well, anytime you get the higher ball, where it's like really high like this with more topspin, I know you like to play closer to the table, but this is your green light to go take a step back. If you if you don't want to play stable close to the table, like you really feel like your best option is to rip it with a lot of power, then go, I'd say, at least half a step further back so that you're able to play the bigger swing with more consistency. But again, it goes back to those other points. This is checkmate. Look at his position. You've done everything you need to do to win this point. You don't need to rip it. All you like a stable block right here wins the point. It's checkmate. But you're so focused on your own shots, and I think you may be focused on, okay, I need to counter loop. I have to counter loop. I want to counter loop this ball, that you're not seeing the big picture of this massive advantage that you have in the point. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Louie here, and welcome to a brand new VOD review. Today I am going to be taking a look at another match from Daniel Ramesh, TSM Broken Sword on Discord. And if you don't remember, I did a VOD review for him a little over a month ago. If you're interested in watching that just to read the initial context, I'll have it timestamped now, and it'll also be down in the description below. So if you want to go ahead and read through all of this, you are more than welcome to. But today we're going to be looking at the second submission, and for second and subsequent submissions, the way that it works is I referenced the notes that I gave you on the previous match and just tried to make sure that you're following everything I recommended. If you are, hopefully we'll see some improvement and then we can start to work on some more stuff. If you're not, then I'll try to point out some things that still need some improvement. But anyway, let's go ahead and read through this, and then we can go ahead and get started. So the first note I had were footwork drills. I said, have a practice partner serve underspin, you push long to their forehand, and they loop cross court. And then your two options are you either counter loop down the line and play the point out, or you play a counter loop cross court, and then both of you play a cross court only point and counter loop the whole time. When you do option two, the rally should be pretty long. Serve short to the opponent's forehand, and they push long to your backhand. When you play the backhand loop, focus on your feet and wait. I remember this. Yeah, don't let your feet go back at all while you're playing the loop. A lot of the time, your weight transfer is going backwards, and one of your feet tended to move backwards as you're playing the shot. So we need to try and get that super consistent. And then lastly, we need to develop a soft flip on the forehand. Right now, we have the flip kill and we have the push as the two main options. We needed the soft flip as a third option with a little topspin just deep into either corner, but primarily into the backhand corner. And just to give everyone an example, I'm going to open up the video. We'll skip to 105 and 124. And I'll just show you all what I mean when I say soft flip. So, this is Chad on the far side of the table. This is what I mean by soft flip. And you can see how effective it is. And there's another one at 124. Again, this is soft flip. Super, super effective shot. And it's one of the shots that we're lacking in our arsenal right now. So hopefully we'll see a little bit of that. But anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get started. As per usual, I have watched through a little bit of the match just to get a feel for everything, which I like to do on the higher elo matches. But like I said, main things we're focusing on are trying to see if we have more of that soft flip, the feet positioning on the backhand, and the counter loops on the forehands. So let's take a look. Hopefully we see some improvement, and yeah, sit back, relax, and enjoy. And for those of you who are not watching the first match, our protagonist is on this side of the table. It looks like we're starting one game down, 3 points in. So not sure what happened those first few points or first game, but anyway, let's go ahead and just watch. Okay, so this is fine. This backhand, honestly, it's fine as well if you went for that shot without so much power. So when someone plays you a relatively weak loop, which is what he just did there, you kind of put the ball in his body, he was late, he gave you a very weak loop to your backhand. You have two options if you're trying to put pressure on him. Because if you just play like a standard block, of course, that's not really going to put pressure on him. You're going to let him attack you. Option one, and it's my preferred option because it's a lot safer, is instead of punching the ball, you roll it with a little bit of topspin. It's a type of counter loop, but it doesn't really look like a counter loop. But basically, you keep the distance between your elbow and your body the same. You keep the bend in your arm the same the whole shot, and you just rotate your elbow forwards and a little bit up. So it's just like almost a mini loop. And if you watch professional players and they get into those like really fast backhand rallies cross court, that's the type of shot that I'm referring to. That mini backhand loop cross court where it's not this giant rip, but it's safer than a block, safer than a punch, while still putting a lot of pressure on your opponent. And option two is the shot that you just went for here, this punchy block, where instead of maintaining a consistent distance between your elbow and your body and maintaining a consistent level of bend in your elbow, you start with the bend in your elbow and you extend your arm out and finish with your arm basically straight. So you basically go through the motion of blocking, but with a little bit more power. However, the caveat with this is in order for you to minimize the risk, even though you're playing a large motion, like your arm is physically fully extending and you have to get full extension on the shot, the large motion doesn't mean that it's a fast motion. So it still has to be very smooth and fluid through the ball. You don't want to punch it with 100% power because then you have almost no room for error. And yes, if you land the punch with full power, it'll almost always be a winner just because of the quality. If you land it with 80% power, even if he returns it, it's going to be a very weak return that lets you into the point, and it keeps that shot much safer. So just something to keep in mind, and the reason I'm nitpicking it is because I know you had messaged me about improving the backhand, and I think that's a situation where I'd opt for either less on the punch, or if it were me playing, knowing myself, I would definitely have gone for just the backhand counter loop, which again, it's not this giant away from the table counter rip, but if you watch, like, imagine like if you remember the 2015 World Table Tennis Championships, Ma Long and Fong Bo, 90% of their rallies, it felt like, started with this fast backhand to backhand rally. That's the type of counter loop I'm referring to, and it's one of the best shots to develop because it's a very stable shot against the loop that still provides enough pressure on your opponent to give you an advantage in the point. But anyway, we're 14 seconds in. Let me keep watching before I go down a rabbit hole. No, can't do that. Perfect. It's not bad at all. Too big. So this shot right here, this is a ball where the shot you played earlier is correct. So the point that I just nitpicked at the beginning of the match, where you went for the punch, watch the way your racket sets up. You basically meet the ball directly to the paddle, like this, and you swing forwards, you extend forwards, and it's a very direct motion, which again, I don't think that's the most optimal there, but whatever. That is the type of motion that you need to play on this shot where you got the higher ball. So I lost the point. Here it is. So this ball right here, all you need to do is, firstly, you need to recognize that he is in a very suboptimal position right now. You have a very, very big advantage in this point. That means that you don't need 100% power to put the point away. You just need 80 to 90% with good placement somewhere to basically capitalize on your advantage. But in terms of the technique, all you need to do, if this is your paddle, is meet the ball to the paddle right here and extend forwards exactly the way that you did on that block. on this higher ball. There is a time and a place for the giant backhand counter rip away from the table, but this is not the time for it. This is a shot where we just need to be stable, meet the ball to the tattle, punch it forwards, and you'll win. Even if that shot specifically is not a winner, it will win the point more times than it doesn't, just because of the way that it'll situate you in the rally. Beautiful push. Very nice. That's good. Very good. Very good. Very good. I know you clipped the net, but still very good tactics. Nice. Nice, 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 nice. I'm not going to complain about that. That's exactly the type of shot that I want to see you go for. Yeah, you clipped the net, but you push cross court. He loops. It's a very weak loop. You're sitting on the counter loop. If you land the counter loop, you win the point. And I know I gave you the exercise to practice the counter loop. I just think you need to practice it more. You don't need so much power on it. It should be compact. Oh, so many missed serves. It's 5-8 right now. If you hadn't missed the serve, you could. If you hadn't missed both serves, you could be winning by a point right now. Small mistakes like that make a very big difference. Nice. Nice. Not the biggest fan of the shot selection. It was a very nice shot because you landed it, but I don't like the fact that you're basically going all or nothing on the shot when you could play it with 80% power, or again go for that slower flip and be stable. But when you're feeling it, you're feeling it. So I'm not going to complain there. It's a good shot. Nice. Great counter loop. Be mindful of your serve placement. That's very good. Nice. That was your best serve of the match so far. A lot of your serves are drifting long though. Yeah, tentative. Um, the beginning of the match, the point that I nitpicked forever, when you played that block, even though it missed, your technique on the shot was perfect. You had full extension. Your arm started with a bend in it, and by the time you finished the motion, it was almost completely straight. The reason you missed is because you had too much power. Compare it to this shot, where you start with a bend, and you extend a little bit, but not fully. You've still got some bend in your arm. Like, you're very tentative because you're scared to miss. Even though you slowed down the shot, which is correct, you still need full extension on the arm. You still need full extension on the shot to kind of dampen the spin and neutralize it a little bit. If you ever watch like Quadriaruna or anyone with a really good backhand block, watch their technique in slow motion. Even the softer blocks are always a full motion, and you'll never see them miss like this. But if you're tentative and kind of caught in between, you're always going to pop the ball out. Yeah. The serves are a little bit too low quality. Like, a lot of the serves are drifting long to the point where you're relying on very difficult shots to win. So you're relying on him playing a loop that's weak enough for you to block, or relying on landing your counter loop, which at a professional level that's one thing, but if you think you can just set up a third ball attack, that should be your first option. And a lot of your serves are drifting way too long right now. Oh, that's a bad mistake. Hang on. So let me find that again. So this is a very, very, very common mistake at this level. This kind of, I'd say, like between like 2000 and 2200 level, everybody makes this mistake because you're not used to players getting your best shots back. But anytime, it's very specific. Anytime you step around with your forehand to loop this ball, and you go for the down the line shot this way, you have to be ready to play more against a right-handed player. This shot, no matter how much power you add to it, can always be returned because all they have to do is stick their paddle in the way. So if you're going to loop it with full speed, you need to make sure your physical, like your physical training, your physical strength is good enough to where you can play this shot with full speed and you're still able to recover in order to get to this ball when it comes back. Or if you've got some mental block, like let's say mentally you just expect this to be a winner, so you can't come back because you've just currently got a mental block, then for the time being, instead of going for a winner on this shot, you have to slow it down a little bit. Go for 70%, 80%, slow enough to where your brain will 100% assume that the opponent will easily return it, because you need the muscle memory of playing this shot and being ready to play more after, because this will almost always come back against a higher level right-handed player. Super, super important concept. Yeah. That's you probably haven't seen it a lot, but that's a very normal response to that shot at higher levels. Yeah, I don't like that. It comes with time. It'll come with pattern recognition, but you just got beat on that shot. He's probably mentally expecting it. You get a similar opportunity. The absolute best thing to do on this ball, well, there's two really. First best thing would be a very slow spinny loop to his middle. It will catch him by surprise because you haven't done it, and he'll probably return it because again it's high level. You just have to assume that he's going to return it, but he's going to return it in a way that gives you an advantage in the point, and from a probability standpoint that's good. It means you can put the point away on one of the later shots. Second best thing you could have done is play deep to this corner because his whole weight is leaning this way because that's where most of your shots have played. Even if you land this loop, I think he just blocks it cross court again and wins the point, which is why I don't like it. Because if you look at your weight when you finish the shot, your weight is still going this way, which tells me that you weren't expecting him to return it. Oh, I don't like that at all. What? What is this? I know that might just be some frustration building up because you lost a few points in a row after you had a big lead. But again, look at his weight. Look at where he's standing. His whole body is right here. Just a soft that soft flip I mentioned. Imagine you take this ball, you play a soft flip here. You know what he's gonna do? He's gonna be out of position and he's gonna lob, and it's going to be a very high ball that you can then put the point away on. But you don't need to be going for a winner on the first shot. Especially, I think you're better than him in the rallies. Just don't be scared to play the rallies. Beautiful block, nice, nice, very good. Yeah, my only gripe, or I guess one of my biggest gripes right now is just every single one of your serves has been long. So luckily he's not got the best loops in the world. So you're getting away with serving long and relying a lot on your counter loop. But there comes a point where you give a good player enough long serves and they're just going to start ripping the hell out of the balls. And I think we need a little bit more variation in the placement and in the spin. We need a lot more very short balls to complement the long ones because in addition to making it harder for him to attack, if you mix in the short balls, it makes the long balls better as well because he's not going to be expecting it every time. It'll catch him by surprise. Ooh, nice. You went for it, so I'll give you props. You went for that softer flip to the opposite corner, and you look at how surprised he was, completely not expecting it. Look at that. That's perfect. You get the chop, and then ideally you step around and play a forehand on that because it's such a weak ball. You have so much time that you shouldn't be standing there playing a backhand. However, what I was going to point out initially is just in terms of recognition, that's a very, very long serve. So I'm glad that you went for the flip, but that's 100% a ball that you could have looped. So just make sure you're keeping an eye on it and recognizing when it's long versus when it's short. Yeah, a lot of errors on the serve. That's fine. So a very nice shot by him. Nice. Let's check the feet. I haven't been paying attention. Nice! Nice! Nice, 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 nice. So much better than last time. Look at that. That is textbook weight transfer on the back end. So much better. Look at that. Great shot. Very, very nice. Yeah. Too much long serves. And because you've been serving so long, his loop has been getting better and better the entire match. And so your blocks have been getting worse and worse, and your counters have been getting more inconsistent. So again, I think you just need to be mindful of it and recognize that all of your serves are getting looped right now. That's fine. I will point out that you made the same mistake here, where you went for a winner, and you are very lucky that he blocked it right where you were standing, because if his block had, whoops, can't draw, if his block had come right here, he would have won the point right away. Again, right-handed versus right-handed, if you take the ball that's in this corner and rip it down the line this way, it will almost never be a winner. Very, very rarely will this shot be a winner. You have to be ready to play more on that shot. Good, very nice. That is the perfect time to play that shot. It's fine. Nice, perfect. Yeah, that's fine. I'd say it's the shot you're going for after the rally is fine. We need to practice the counter loop more in practice so that it's more consistent, like a bread and butter, like just happens automatically. But you're also not giving yourself many chances to open on the third ball. And almost every time you get a push on the third ball and you're able to loop first and you play the spinny shot, you win the point. Yeah, like twice there. Every time you're able to attack first, you win. So you should mentally take a note of that, and it should be your goal. Too much, too much. Again, it goes back to recognition. Recognize when you have an advantage in the point. Look at where he's standing right now. Look at how far away from the table he is. Any shot, just about any shot that you play with good placement and spin wins the point. 80% loop right here. 80% loop right here. Drop shot. Just a normal loop cross court. A normal loop down the line. And anything wins the point here. It's checkmate. So why go for 150% power? If this is Ma Long, you're still in a position that you would win the point with 80% power from this specific position. Again, it's the equivalent of checkmate, where you have done what you need to do to win the point, and you have to recognize that and know when you don't need 100% on the shot. That's fine. That's a good miss. That's fine. Same. You have checkmate again. Look at the position. You play perfectly, and then the last shot. Look at where he's standing. Look at his paddle. His paddle is here, and his elbow is up here somewhere. All his weight is moving backwards. You're still close to the table. It's checkmate. He's still going back. He's still going back. His weight is so far back. Anything you play here wins the point. Just a stable loop cross court, a stable loop down the line. Maybe he lobs another one, but it's still checkmate. Again, just a soft block. There's a million ways to win the point from this position, but looping with 1,000,000% power is not one of them. It just comes down to the shot selection. Ooh, that was a very good serve by him. Yeah, too many long serves. Your every single loop he's played on against your serve has had progressively more and more topspin on it. because you're giving him so many chances to get into the groove. Nice. Very good spin. Nice. I love that. Nice. That's a lot better too. Much more stable. Nice. Good serve. That's good. Perfect. Yeah, spin to win. You never, very rarely need to kill it and go for a winner. Spin. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, both of you are addicted to serving long. That's fine. Perfect. Very good point. Nice. Yeah, that's good. That's fine as well. Good placement. Nice. Perfect. Nice comeback. I don't know what just clicked, but it's like I'm watching two different players. Nice. Yeah, it's same. This shot as well. Anytime you get the higher ball, where it's like really high like this with more topspin. I know you like to play closer to the table, but this is your green light to go take a step back. If you if you don't want to play stable close to the table, like you really feel like your best option is to rip it with a lot of power, then go, I'd say, at least half a step further back so that you're able to play the bigger swing with more consistency. But again, it goes back to those other points. This is checkmate. Look at his position. You've done everything you need to do to win this point. You don't need to rip it. All you, like, a stable block right here wins the point. It's checkmate. But you're so focused on your own shots, and I think you may be focused on, okay, I need to counter loop. I have to counter loop. I want to counter loop this ball, that you're not seeing the big picture of this massive advantage that you have in the point. And it's a lot of the games. This is the difference. Like, you won the last couple games close, 11-9. If you don't make these smaller mistakes, you're winning 11-5, 11-6. Very, very small mistakes, but it's the difference between winning and sweating and having a heart attack and winning and being like, that was it. That was the easiest match of my life. Nice. I like that. That's really good. Yeah, both of you are really serving suboptimally. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Perfect. I only say it's fine there and that you don't need to counter loop because at this point you are aware of his patterns and how he plays. So you understand that that's a safe shot. So I'm not going to complain about it as long as it's actually what you wanted to do. Yeah, that's fine. I'll put it in your notes. You just need you need to practice the counter loop more. It's still not as automatic. Like, imagine when you were a beginner, you were learning how to play just like a forehand loop against underspin. I'm sure at first it was not automatic. It was a shot that was very difficult. And now you get any type of backspin ball to your forehand and you can just loop it without even thinking about it. It just happens. You probably can't even explain how it happens half the time. It just does. We need to get the counter loop to that point where it just happens automatically. So it needs a little bit more practice. That's good. That's a long serve, and you're nervous. You get very nervous when it's close. Nice. Very nice. Yeah, nice overall. A lot of improvement. Let me go ahead and type out my notes I think there's still some things from last time we haven't quite fixed yet, but there's a lot of stuff we have. So I will be right back. Alrighty, I have quite a bit of homework for you, so um, don't worry if it takes a little bit before you're able to submit another match because I want all of this stuff to be addressed as fully as possible, especially these two things because we still haven't got this figured out just yet. But I'm going to go through everything. Again, we still need to just practice counter looping. We need to drill this down every single day. So it's the exact same drills that I gave you last time. Next submission, I want receipts. So the next match you submit, send me a clip of you doing this drill, doing both of these, just so that I can take a look at the technique and see how it looks. Focus on a fast recovery, compact motion, and very stable shots while maintaining a high quality. We also still need to develop the soft flip on the forehand. I'll give you a little bit of a pass on this one because he didn't really give you much of a chance to play it because all of his serves were long. But I still want you to focus on this, and I'd like to see a little bit more of it in your next match. But moving on to some of the new notes, be mindful of what, and I crossed this one out because the backhand loop, the weight transfer looked a lot better. Your feet were planted. I didn't notice anything that where your foot was slipping back while you were looping, but just always be mindful of this. Don't let the habit come back. But be mindful of when you have what I'll call checkmate. A lot of times you have a total advantage in the point, your opponent goes back and lobs, and you decide to go for a 200% winner and throw the point away. If you absolutely feel like you need a bigger swing for whatever reason, like he's lobbing, and you feel like you just need to play a bigger swing, then you need to go further away from the table to allow yourself more time to play the larger motion and keep it stable. I also want you to try and develop a mini backhand counter loop in situations where you want to put pressure on your opponent, the block is too weak and the punch is too risky. So I think you've watched the video of my racket review, but specifically watch from 549 to 627. Watch this specific time frame and look at how I kind of play this backhand loop against a loop where I'm not punching, I'm not blocking. It's not a full power rip on most of the shots, but it's stable and very high quality. And then in situations where you do decide to opt for the backhand punch, you have to keep in mind that large motion doesn't mean fast motion. You always need to keep the motion large. You don't ever want to stop the motion short because that'll be tentative and less stable. So it has to be a large motion, but it doesn't have to be a quick motion. It should be smooth and stable. Next, I want to make sure that you're ready to play more after any forehand. Never expect it to be a winner, especially when you step around the corner and go down the line against a right-handed player. That shot's almost always going to get returned. So if you're going to go full speed, make sure no matter what, you have the capability to come back and keep going when it gets returned. If you can't do this yet, you need to slow the loop down so that mentally the idea of you playing a winner isn't even crossing your mind. And then finally, we need to practice serves way, I can't emphasize this enough, way more. You should be just winning a much higher percentage of your points outright on your serve. And don't misconstrue that. I don't ever want you to serve and expect to win the point outright on the serve because that'll make you lazy and you won't be ready to play more. But it's the type of thing that should just happen sort of on its own much more often than it does for you. I'd say, like when I play a match against anybody, it doesn't matter who I'm playing, I'm winning at least a handful of points every single game outright on my serve. And I don't think you won more than 1 or 2 off of your serve. And then on top of that, as it relates to the serves, just be mindful of how long a lot of your serves are drifting. I think there's times you're serving long on purpose, but I also think there's times where you meant to serve short and it drifted long, and then he looped, and then you're stuck blocking even though you didn't want to. But anyway, that's going to do it for this. Lots of improvement, so I do look forward to seeing another match from you in the future. But like I said, take your time working on this stuff because I'd rather that you get it right than just rush to submit another match. But to everyone watching at home, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a big thumbs up. It helps a ton with the algorithm and it always means the world. And if you are interested in free coaching, join my Discord server. I've got instructions and details there. But again, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all have a great day, and until next time.